Kirk Clyatt, correspondent for Asia Pacific Today and an international broadcaster of great repute, has just recently recovered from coronavirus. First of all, Kirk, how are you?
Well, I'm not completely recovered. I'd say I'm about 90% of the way back, but I'm still having the night sweats, still a little bit of fatigue. It was a horrible experience. It destroyed my January, but at least I feel like I've still got a life to go with. A little disheveled today. You can see I haven't been able to get a haircut in like 2 months because you don't go out and get a haircut.
You're looking like Don King.
Don King, yeah, right. And our shower's being repaired today, so a little disheveled. But I mean, you'll show some video, I think, of when I was really disheveled during the month of January. It was an emotional, traumatic experience that did not have to happen. We did this to ourselves in the United States, and it's a national disgrace. And it'll be fascinating to see the way history portrays it as we go forward. I mean, I know it's been tough for folks in Australia and some on the right. You know, you've got people like Alan Jones saying, oh my God, one case in Perth, and you shut things down for a week. But you have to decide what's more important, lives or the economy. And you remember that's Rent, the musical Rent, how many minutes in a year? Well, over the past year, if you average it all out, it's been about 1 death per minute per year here in the United States. By the time we get to the end of February, really things shut down March 17th last year, it will be well over 500,000 deaths, roughly a death a minute.
Kirk, did you have serious symptoms before you had contracted COVID-19? And what was the alarming, the red flags for you?
Well, actually, I went for 4 tests during the course of the year because sometimes you're just not feeling right, and the symptoms can be different for other people. My partner, Mark, who I believe that's where we got it from because he works for a major department store, or worked, because of their irresponsibility, he actually quit that job. In his visual marketing unit of a major chain, 15 people worked in it. He was the supervisor there. Of those 15, 13 of them came down with COVID, and of course they transmitted it to their families. So during the course of the last year, anytime I felt a little off, I'd get a test. The National Guard providing the test here in Nevada. So I got 4 tests. They're all different kinds. Some they stick down your throat, some they stick down your nose, some you twirl it around in your nose. And on December 31st, to end what was a memorable year in more ways than one, got a test. They were very efficient. The Southern Nevada Health Department came back the next day, and it was positive. And generally, not always, but generally, if one member of your family has got it, everybody has got it because it's just that contagious. So the other times I test previous to that was December the 7th. It was negative, but the December 31st test was positive. And then, Katie barred the door.
What about treatment, though? Once you were diagnosed with COVID-19, what sort of treatment did you have?
Well, I didn't bring it out to the duck pond with me. The pulse oximeter, which is that little device that you stick on your finger. If you go to a health checkup, they'll stick it on there, and that measures your blood oxygen and your pulse. That is something you keep an eye on because mine dropped down consistently to 90. And if it stays in the upper 80s or mid 80s, you have to go to the hospital for oxygen therapy. Gets any worse than that, those are the folks that go on the respirator. So for a couple of days, I would say it was nip and tuck. You stay home, you treat it with basically acetaminophen, with aspirin. You just kind of talk to your doctor. Unfortunately, my daughter is a doctor, so I was able to have a tremendous amount of text medicine with her. But realistically, unless you're near death, the emergency rooms, the hospitals, they've been so crowded that it's pretty much you're on your own. And, just to give you kind of a difference between, say, Australia or even Vietnam, for that matter, certainly New Zealand, Taiwan, we're now a couple of days in a row here in Nevada with under 1,000 new cases a day, under 1,000 in one state, about the population of Western Australia. And we're going, hey, we're doing good. We got down under 1,000 cases. Can you imagine if there were 1,000 cases in Brisbane? It's kind of a different world. It's a different concept.
No, we had one.
Governmental styles.
We had one, and they shut the whole city down. So,
well, that's because they care more about people than about money. It's a different national construct.
Now, isolation. How long were you in isolation for?
Yeah, a couple of weeks, several weeks. And basically, we did have to go out to pick up food. but it was that touchless curbside delivery of food. We did have a big food supply tied in worrying about the insurrection, which we did see, and the threat of still may not be over. So fortunately, we had a big stock of food at the house, and we were able to go out and pick up some food from the grocery stores with curbside delivery. But basically, we just hung out at the house. Fortunately, we have a nice house, had to feed the ducks, had to feed the dogs. So, much, much better for me than for somebody, say, stuck in an apartment. But I can only imagine someone stuck in a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment with a couple of kids, 3 or 4 people, and you just can't go out. You can't go out and expose yourself to other people because from what I understand, and I just have layman's knowledge, we're talking about a basic 10-day period at least that you would be contagious. And it was nip and tuck for me. And it's certainly easy to see why, with folks that have other comorbidities that could be in place, somebody who's 70 or 80 years old, COVID could easily be a death sentence.
Don't think this whole COVID thing is finished yet. I mean, some would say, can't wait to see the end of it. I perhaps can wait to see the end of it because who knows, it's morphing into different strains and it's doing all sorts of wild things right now. Governments around the world sort of lurching from the left to the right. So who knows? But at the moment, you're living in Nirvana. We've got to wrap this up because we're busy today, but you're living in Nirvana. You've got ducks, you've got a rabbit.
I don't know if you can see. One of the ducks is in the pond right now. I don't know if you can see him too well, but he's trying to get over to the girls' side. We have to separate the boys and girls because just like with a lot of humans, the ducks really don't understand consent.
No, but he's looking delicious. And look, Kirk, we'll do it longer next week. Thank you very much for your time. You have to take care. We love you very dearly, and just take care of yourself and say hello to Mark for us too.
We'll do it. You have a great time and stay safe there.